On today's ProPresenter show. What the? On today's ProPresenter show. Let me try that again. On today's ProPresenter show. What's up with my backlight? No, I'm just kidding. I'm doing it. Yep, on today's ProPresenter show, automating your lighting with the Midi module. Hi and welcome to another ProPresenter tutorial. My name is Paul Allen Clifford. By itself, ProPresenter is already really powerful, but Renewed Vision didn't stop when they got to good enough for most churches. No, they added modules to make it even more powerful. And you only need to buy them if you need them, keeping the cost down for those who don't. So today, let's look at one of those modules, the Midi module, and automate lighting control with it. The first thing you should know is that the Midi module does come with the communications module. So if you need to talk to more than just lights and control other pieces of hardware, look at it instead. That said, I'm only scratching the surface of what it can do, since it can both send and receive MIDI signals as well as react based on them, and make other things react as well. For this tutorial, I'm using a hardware lighting console, the Elation DMX operator, and I'm connecting to it with the USB to MIDI cable. So without further delay, let me show you just how this works. Okay, if you want to use the Midi module, the first thing you're going to need to do is make sure you're running ProPresenter 6 on a Mac. The Midi module hasn't been written for the PC yet, or they're not satisfied with it. I don't know what the reason is, but it won't run on Windows just yet. It could be at some later time it will, but right now it doesn't. And I only know about what's going on right now. So all that to say, once you have your Mac running ProPresenter 6, then you're going to need to either connect over the network, which I'll go over in a future tutorial once I figure that out, or you'll want to connect via USB to MIDI using a cable that will do this. Now, I will tell you that I bought a cheaper one. You'll notice this one is $40 and has really good ratings. I bought a cheaper one that was like $10, didn't work at all. Not useful to me whatsoever. I plugged it in, the LED came on, and that's all I got out of it. It never showed up in my system, and even though it said it didn't need a driver, I just couldn't get it to work whatsoever. Even checking a couple of different Macs that I have access to didn't work. So someone on one of the groups said that he'd gotten this one to work, and I said, well, you know, I could order 4 more $10 cables, or I could just do it right the first time and order this one. So I'll leave a link to this in the show notes below. It'll probably be an affiliate link. It'll probably be this affiliate link right here, but won't cost you any extra, and this is what you'll get. Now, the first thing that you should know is when you plug that in, there is a little switch on the Roland USB MIDI interface UM1 that for a computer needs to go towards the USB plug. So it didn't immediately work for me because it was on iPad setting, which is towards the MIDI plugs. So first things first, do that. Okay. By the way, before I go on, I want to say that someone else said that he had some luck with this one, and it's a little less expensive. So if you want to go that way, feel free. I'll also leave a link to this one. I haven't used it myself, but the person that used it seems trustworthy, so I don't have any reason to believe that they're not correct. So that was, let me give credit where credit's due, Chad over here. Here, let me get out of here. Chad over on the ProPresenter users group said that he had some success with that one. So those are the two that I would look at right now. There might be others, but those are the two that I would look at first. Now, once you plug that in, you want to start up, not ProPresenter quite yet, you want to start up Audio MIDI Setup. This comes with OS 10, and it should just work. You plug that in, and with the USB cable plugged in, the driver installed, all that stuff, this should show up here. Now, you'll notice there are two arrows. You're going to want to connect that to a new external device, so I just added one. Your interface might look a little bit differently. I saw other screenshots that had different controls up here, but just add a new interface, and then you're going to connect those two and these two. So that's how that should look. This connected to this, and then you can go ahead and quit Audio MIDI Setup and go into ProPresenter. So let's do that right now. I guess I minimized that. So in ProPresenter, before you buy the MIDI module, because Renewed Vision does not offer refunds on this, I would test this out with the cable. So worst case scenario, you're out $40 for your cable, not $140. And the way you do that is go into Preferences. Do this on a time when it doesn't matter that the watermark is going to show up, because when you test out a module by clicking Demo Modules here, the watermark will show up until you restart. Okay, so what we do is we go into that, and now we're going to go into Communications, because the MIDI module is a subset of the Communications module. You'll click Add Device and MIDI down here, and then you'll get this. It won't be connected, so you will have to click Connect, and then that should be straightforward, and it should work from there. Now, in MIDI Setup, if you wanted to have MIDI notes control ProPresenter, you could do it that way as well, but in this case we're going to go the other direction. We're going to have ProPresenter send MIDI notes to a lighting control board. By the way, when it comes to connecting the MIDI cables, on the Roland UM1, it has it labeled very clearly. You know, on the back of my lighting control board it says MIDI in, and on the Roland UM1 it says connect to MIDI in. So you connect the cable that says connect to MIDI in, you connect that to MIDI in. Pretty straightforward. Some other MIDI cables have in and out, and that is what the relationship to the MIDI cable itself. So you connect the in to the out and the out to the in, which can be very confusing, but just remember it's not in to in or out to out. It's in to out and out to in. And the way that I'm set up, I don't have the MIDI out connection connected to the connect to MIDI out on my UM1, or what would be called MIDI in. Don't have that connected, so it can be done just with that singular connection. So I've got all that set up. Now let's go here. I've already set these up, and if we right click and go Add Cue, Communications Cue, MIDI, I selected MIDI Note On, and I'll show you how I did that here in a second, but I want to show you exactly what we see here. And so we're going to edit this MIDI cue. You'll notice I've selected the MIDI interface, I have selected MIDI Note on, and now I'm on channel 1. Check with the light board that you're connected to what channel that it wants. And note 0, C2 is note 0, and intensity, I initially tried this at 0, but this is basically loudness, and 0 is no loudness. So 127 is as loud as it goes. So I said, well, we'll just send a really loud signal. And that's when it started to work. One cool little piece of troubleshooting you can do is you'll notice I've got this piece of software called Midi Monitor, and I believe that's a third party, but it was a free utility, so I'll leave a link to that in the show notes. So what we want to do is select MIDI sources and select UM1, new external device, so that that's what it shows. And then when I click on something in ProPresenter, let's move this over here, then we'll expect to see a message down here if all is well. Oh, didn't click that. So let me click back here. Yeah, there we go. So you also need to click this Y on output destinations. And so when I clicked the red one, it said channel 1, note C2, which was number 0 at 127. So it will tell you if it's sending this. Additionally, the UM1 has a little LED that blinks. So that's helpful as well as when you're troubleshooting. So I'm going to get out of that. Don't need to save that, so I'm not going to. And going back over here to ProPresenter, what I'm going to do right now is I'm on red, and I'm going to cut to a camera I have of my little LED fixture that I bought just for this tutorial. This has been kind of a pricey tutorial for me. Bought $50 worth of cables and a very cheap LED light. So do it all for you. So you don't need the words here. I've just put those in here so that I can remember which does what. If I actually had this hooked up to a projector, that would show. So you don't need those words. Those are just showing what each of these do. So I go to red, which I've already done. Now I go to green. You'll notice it turned green. Then I've got a scene that's just blue. You'll notice it turns blue. And then I have this other scene that is kind of closer to incandescent. I actually use this light as the backlight when I'm in front of my chroma key muslin. So that's the setting for that. And you see that color there. That it's more... well, you don't see the result of it. You see that all the LEDs are lit up. What you probably don't notice is the blue LEDs are a little less intense because this LED fixture, the white tends to be a little on the blue side. So I just pulled down the blue just a little bit. I also have, these are individual scenes that I can select. So if I just wanted a scene set up for, say, the message, and it had several fixtures on it, then I could just go to that at the beginning of the message, just as soon as we start the walk-up video, or maybe right after the walk-up video when the pastor starts talking. Then just clicking on the first slide would bring up the appropriate lights. Now I can also do a chase. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my auto button and go into the chase. And you should see the changes. It's going between red, green, blue, the white, etc. And finally I have a blackout. So let me just show you. I'm going to edit this cue as well. Edit cue MIDI note on, and you'll notice that I'm still on channel 1, but now I'm on note 126. Again, intensity 127, but that's what the board that I'm using is an old Elation DMX operator, and it has a page in the manual that you don't say, hey, I want MIDI note 115 to do blackout. No, it's hard-coded in there. So I had to cross-reference and decide what to do there. So you could imagine that you could have a different lighting cue every time you switch a slide. You could have a different lighting cue for each song. You could have a different chase for each song. So you really have some flexibility when it comes to using ProPresenter and the MIDI module to control your lighting. Are you starting to get ideas yet? Are you thinking about the times when you really needed one more person, and with this technique maybe you can have ProPresenter also run lights? Are you thinking about the times where it would have been great to have lyrics, background, and lights all change at once? Tell me any ideas you have in the comments below. By the way, if you like these videos but don't know exactly where to start with them or wish they were organized better, why not try my ProPresenter mini courses? Just go to TDM.fyi/Pro6Mini and sign up for your free ProPresenter mini course, regularly a $19 value. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com. Go out and change eternity. Oh hey, while you're still here, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the little bell icon so that you can get notifications of upcoming tutorials. Also share these videos with anyone you think would be interested. See you next time.